Morning, everybody. It's the start of day 29, and we're starting off with a nice uphill. So I'm falling back in my tradition of doing videos going uphill. I'll probably try to keep it short and sweet. Basically, we got about 18 miles till we are at Standing Bear Farm, which means I'll be concluding the first section of my gut hook guide, or about the first 250 miles, maybe 240 or so, in the next 2 days. And today, basically, we've got a shelter that's about 7.7 miles out, and then one that's 15 miles out, which is Davenport Gap Shelter. It's the last shelter in the Smokies. I don't think I'm gonna push to Davenport because not only is 15 miles really far, but there's a significant downhill at the end, which tends to really kick my butt. So I think what I'm gonna do is there's actually a lookout tower that's at about 4,800 feet. So it's 1,100 feet lower than where I stayed last night. So I think I'm actually gonna try to sleep in the tower, which will be interesting. Make sure I'm going the right way here. This is the Appalachian Trail. Good. There's my white blaze. So anyway, the tower is just about in the middle of the two shelters at about 10.5 miles. And it'll sort of prop me up at the top of the big descent for tomorrow. And tomorrow it'll be about 8 miles going 3,000 feet down from 4,800 to about 1,800 to get to Standing Bear. And you know, given the condition of my legs, I think breaking it up into 10 and 8, especially after a couple big days in the past few days, or yesterday really, not the past few days, but will be best for just keeping my legs happy, keeping my knees and my anterior on the left side, the muscle going from the top of my foot up into my shin. You know, I want to try to keep all my muscles happy, keep them from rebelling against me. So again, just over a 10-mile day today, and then sleeping up in a wooden tower in a big rainstorm. That ought to be interesting. Hopefully I don't get unlucky and be the guy who's sleeping up in the tower when lightning strikes and catches the tower on fire or get electrocuted. You know, it's always fun to think worst case scenario. It's easy to fall into that trap when you're out here. But I think more likely I'll have a really interesting night, and with any luck, a clear enough morning that I'll be able to catch a sunset. By the way, that tower is about 0.6 miles off the trail, which means there might be some hikers who are thorough like I am, who will show up when I'm there hanging out. But I suspect I might have it for the most part to myself, especially when it starts to get later. Right now it's just before 10, probably about 9:30 or 9:45. So I got plenty of time to cover the miles, but it is gonna get wet. So it's a little damp out right now, but it should start coming down pretty good in the next few hours here. All right, let's see how this goes. Got my umbrella ready, my rain jacket's on. I've got one big ascent coming up. I think it's about 700 feet, so not too big, but it's substantial. And then after that, it's really basically just all downhill. So it shouldn't be too bad of a day. But I always say that ends up kicking my butt. Well, if I look like there's a reason. So, pretty much on the tail end of the Smokies. I think I'm about 10 miles out from Standing Bear, which means I'm really only like 6 miles out from the end of the Smokies. And today was like a few uphills and then mostly downhills. But I got to a spot called Low Gap, and there was already some people who had passed me when I was taking a break and checking my phone and all that stuff, going up the hill ahead. And I think it was a combination of like just leaving behind the ceremonious uphills of the Smokies combined with my competitive drive. And man, I just absolutely hauled ass up those 600 feet and like was sweating so badly for the first time out here that like I had sweat dripping down into my eyes and stinging my eyes, and I got all hot and bothered. It's happening again. This handkerchief definitely has come in handy for a lot of things, including being utilized as my sweat rag. So we have like maybe one more 100-foot vertical, which shouldn't be too bad. I'm definitely not going to repeat what I just did. And then we're going to get to Mount Camera Tower. And what I'm hoping is that I can get into the tower. It's about 0.6 miles off trail, which I think discourages a lot of people from going up the tower, despite the fact that on Gut Hook it says it's worth the side hike for. But again, I think I'm going to try to camp up there. So we'll see if anyone else is thinking like I am. But if not, and I'm lucky, I might have it to myself. All right, I'm gonna go because I'm exhausted and I need to use my trekking poles to get up the rest of this hill. I'll check in with you later. All right, so we made it to Mount Camera Lookout, and it's a good looking tower. You know, I was thinking in my head that I'd be staying in one of those like wobbly lookout towers, but this thing's made of stone on the bottom. It's got a walk around porch or patio, whatever you want to call it, on the outside. So should be in pretty good shape. I think I might have overdone it on the approach though, because my left knee is not happy with me. And I've been doing a pretty good job of managing it up until now. Yeah, this is gonna be fine. Obviously I don't have a view for sure, but nice and dry. So, be a good place to stay tonight. All right, let's get set up. Accommodations for the evening. We do have a door. The door does have a little critter hole in it. I had a couple of birds come to say hi earlier, which was funny. But I'll probably end up blocking it off just so I don't have any unwanted visitors coming for food. And I've got a rock I can do that with, or a couple of boards that I can sort of just shove in front of the door hole. One huge bonus perk of the inside of this place is it's got these wrought iron bars all converging in the middle. I don't know, I guess it's for the stability of the structure, probably in wind. But it makes a great hang for all my wet gear, because my gear was sitting out in the rain last night. So things are dry in here, things are pretty cozy. Now what I need to do is focus on stretching and cooking up some food and starting to get tucked away, even though it's still only about 3 o'clock. I think I'm gonna probably call it a day and just sort of relax and enjoy this time off, get off my feet and give my feet a chance to rest. Cool. So hopefully I'll have a clear view in the morning and we'll get a pretty killer sunrise. We'll see.
And this is all you got to do, bro. This is all you got to do. all day long. I love it. Fucking love it. Kinda makes me wish I'd hit the PCT, bro. Yeah. Done it. Oh yeah, I still go. And I may still do it. You know. I did have to.
Power lines. Power lines on day 30. And what do power lines mean? Power lines mean that we are close to town, motherfucker. So that means I hiked a little bit ahead of a group of dudes that I stayed with last night, and they offered to hitch me right over to a restaurant in town. So we're gonna go get a good in-town meal, and then probably spend a night or two at Standing Bear. And I'm gonna see if they'll let me do a work first day, or I just chip in and help them out doing something for a little bit during the day, and then stay for free. Because the downside to taking all the zeros I've taken is being in town can be expensive. Big horsefly. So if I can save some money doing a little bit of work on a beautiful day like today, then I would rather do that. So I'm gonna try to be a little more conscientious about the money I spend, or at least be a little more careful about where I choose to spend it. You know, again, I'm hoping not to do as many zeros going forward, but you know, you never know when you're gonna need that extra money. So anyway, I'll check in with you guys later. Day 30, baby. Standing Bear Farm.